But though both ilm naqli, which is Quran and Sunnah, and ilm aqli, which is human knowledge, have got the same source from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they came to us either through books and prophets, that's for ilm naqli, or through the human intellect and experience, that is for ilm aqli. The two sources are complementary. It means they are not opposed to one another. They are actually the same because they are from the same creator. They just come in two books. One comes in Kitabul Wahy, which is Quran and Sunnah, which is ilm naqli, and the ilm aqli, which is the human knowledge, comes from Kitabul Kawn, the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he wrote and he put in the environment for us to use. Now, ilm aqli, as I said, is transmitted knowledge from Quran and Sunnah, and the two sources of ilm naqli are the Quran as the primary and Sunnah as the secondary. There are some other possible sources of ilm naqli, but these are matters of controversy. The Quran has been protected in its present form for 14 centuries. In fact, many archaeologists and researchers, they keep on looking for all the fragments of the Quran buried and found in different places. They have never found a difference between what we have now and what was there hundreds of years ago, which means this book has been preserved in its purity from the beginning. The Sunnah was not written down from the beginning, it was written down afterwards. So the Sunnah can be classified, some of it is very strong, some of it is less strong. Now, the Quran has got most of it direct, bayina, clear. It does not need interpretation. A few verses, very few of them, require interpretation or require ta'wil. But this ta'wil doesn't mean giving them a new meaning. It means going back to their original meaning. The Quran covers issues about aqidah, about ahkam, and about the environment, empirical realities, the al-kawn. It covers historical things, naba'u ma qablakum, current things, naba'u ma baynakum, and future things, naba'u ma ba'dakum. And the Quran has got many scientific verses called ayat kawniyya. It calls upon us to look and observe what is around us in our bodies, fi anfusikum, and the physical environment around us, fil afaq. So, Quran is the primary source of ilm naqli, transmitted knowledge. And there is no contradiction between the Quran and the Sunnah. Ilm aqli, on the other hand, is knowledge based on human reasoning and human experimentation, which is what we know today as scientific knowledge or social science knowledge. So as I said, you have got these two sources of knowledge, ilm naqli and ilm aqli. So the Quran has talked a lot about ilm aqli. I won't go over the details here. I'm going to send this PowerPoint to Dato and Prof Fauzan so that they can give it to you. You can read the details about how ilm aqli, or scientific knowledge, or human experimental knowledge, is respected in the Quran, as mentioned in the Quran a lot, that you can read and understand by yourself. Now I come to one of the two major issues about the teaching of Islamic knowledge in our times. that is integration. I think for our communities to succeed in their educational endeavors, we need to know how to integrate the two books, Kitabul Wahy and Kitabul Kawn. We need to know how to integrate ilm naqli and ilm aqli. Our schools, our kindergartens must integrate the two sources of knowledge. Because if we do not integrate the two sources of knowledge, we are not giving complete education. Our children and our students will be half educated. And half education sometimes is worse than no education at all. So integration and an integrated Tawheed epistemology is a must. It's a necessity in our times. We cannot do without it. So integration of education is what we need. Now, IIIT has been working all these years on how to achieve this integration. We are writing books, we are writing curricula, and inshallah our hope is that this integration will spread throughout the Ummah. Most important, we need to integrate at the earliest levels of education. The kindergarten or preschool must be integrated because that's when the children get introduced to knowledge. If you start off right at that stage, it works very well. Later on, we can integrate in elementary and secondary schools and universities, but it's very important that we start the integration at the beginning. In practice, it may not be possible to integrate at all levels of education, but we try our best. Now, in practice, integration of knowledge is putting the naqli in the disciplines of knowledge that we teach. When we are teaching mathematics, we need to say how to put the naqli or Quranic part in it. When we teach history, we need to know how to put the Quranic part in. This is called the Islamic input. So integration actually means this, that Islamic values, Islamic concepts get integrated in the modern disciplines of knowledge. And my thinking is that when we integrate, that will be a catalyst. It will encourage, it will push, it will motivate people to research and to know more and to study more. So we will develop our education more because of integration. That brings me to the next item in my presentation of the education that is needed today. That is the issue of motivation. Because when we integrate Quran and Sunnah in our education system, in the actual disciplines of knowledge, our children, our students will study with more dedication, with more commitment, because they will be studying physics, chemistry, history, in the knowledge that this is a religious duty. They also will understand that going to school and studying is a duty required from us. Talabul ilm, search for knowledge. As the Prophet ﷺ said, Talabul ilmi faridatun ala kulli muslimin wa muslima. Looking for knowledge is a duty for every Muslim. Also, when we integrate Islamic values in our education, especially at the earliest levels, we will learn to search for excellence, al-ihsan. As you know, Islam has got three fundamentals. The beginning is al-Islam, the 5 pillars of Islam. The next level is Iman, the 6 pillars of Iman, Arkanul Iman. The highest level is Al-Ihsan. Ihsan means excellence, it means quality. So if from the very beginning we integrate these Islamic values in the preschool, in the kindergarten, our children will grow up knowing that they have to excel. They must achieve Ihsan. So When they read, they will try to read in the best way. When they do their homework, they will try to do it in the best way. When they do research, they will try to do it in the best way, because they are looking for ihsan, which is the highest level of our religion. And I think also they will be motivated to succeed. They will not drop out of school. They will try to get the highest marks, the highest grades, because of the religious motivation being part of education. Now, we also need to use new approaches to teaching the Quran. At the moment, we just teach children to read the Quran, sometimes without understanding, sometimes with some interpretation. But we need to go beyond this. We need to teach them the Quran as the guide for them in their life. The most important aspect to teach about the Quran is Tawheed, that there is only one Allah and everything comes from one creator. Tawheed is very, very important. And Quran, in all its passages, in all its verses, talks about Tawheed. So we need to emphasize Tawheed at all levels of education, because Tawheed is the source of our civilization. It's the source of our unity as an ummah. It's the source of science, because Tawheed tells you the creator of the whole world is one. Therefore, everything created has got the same origin. What's the purpose of science? The purpose of science is to understand the things that Allah created in order to create technology from them. So the unity that Tawheed gives us makes us understand that there can be a relationship between a tree and between a human, because that tree may have a medicine that can treat the human disease. So Tawheed is very, very important. As we teach Quran, we need to emphasize this all the time. Now, Quran, besides Tawheed, has got ahkam. This is halal and haram. And by the way, these are not a lot in the Quran. The Quran is either about Tawheed or about three other things that I will mention before I end. The Quran talks about things that happened in our times. The Quran talks about good people and bad people, honest people and dishonest people. When you look around in your society, you will see these people. So Quran is not a book of history. It's a book that is a comment on our daily life. So as we teach Quran, we need to relate it directly to what the children see daily in their life, so that they can be helped to live the Quran in their daily life. The Quran also talks about history, naba'u ma qablakum, things that happened in the past, the people of Noah, the people of Salih, the people of Ad. So, as we teach these stories of the past, we need to point out to the children lessons to learn from the experiences of the previous communities. Those who did good, we copy them. Those who did bad, we avoid them. So we need to teach this and relate them directly to the life of the children. Then the Quran also talks about future things that will happen, Yawm al-Qiyamah. So as we teach, we need to relate the children's or the students' outlook to the futuristic outlook that the Quran gives. So inshallah, I will now stop here. I would have gone on for longer, but they need me in the hospital. There is some urgent matter to deal with. Inshallah, we shall be able to talk again at another time. Let me summarize what I said. I said that the education that our communities need today has got two major elements. There is the element of integration. We must integrate ilm naqli, which is from Quran and Sunnah, and ilm aqli, which is human knowledge. Those must be integrated, and this integration should start at the earliest levels of education, especially at school. The second point I said, and it follows from the first one, is that when we integrate values into the education system, that will create motivation. It will create a love for learning. It will create a love for excellence. So the students will perform better in English, in mathematics, in science, because they are motivated. They know that studying is part of religion. It's like ibadah. So inshallah, I hope with these two things, integration and motivation, we shall be able to improve our education systems. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I would like to thank Professor Omar Kasule so much for spending time to present and give a very wonderful presentation regarding our Islamic epistemology. Thank you very much. Do you think we can open for questions or not, Doctor?
For 5 minutes only, because I have to go.
Okay, thank you very much, Doctor. We are looking forward to see you again at the end of the session. Thank you very much.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Prof. Omar has only 5 minutes, not any.
Things that anyone would like to have any suggestion or comments to briefly, quickly ask Doctor or what else, Doctor?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Question?
Yes.
Yes, because currently I stay with many new Muslim, and then the problem I encounter is that they find it hard to understand Quran, and at the same time, they do not really have the encouragement to read. They feel like they can read only 1 or 2 pages, and like I said, they don't understand, and sometimes it's boring. It doesn't like when someone tell them about the Quran, like it doesn't like when they watch the video about Islamic study. They actually they don't have like the inspiration to read the Quran. That's it. And I think it is the problem because I believe that Quran is the word of God, so it is the most important thing for us as a Muslim to read it. But like, most of new Muslims, they find it hard to like have the inspiration to read the Quran. So do you have any suggestions? Maybe I can tell them, yes, something, sharing with them about it.
Okay. I think the Quran needs to be understood. You need someone to help you. First of all, if it isn't translated, you can read the translation. But in addition to reading the translation, you need someone to guide you through. That's the best way. So I think new Muslims should look for someone to guide them to understand the Quran. They don't have to read actually a lot of it. Even a little bit of it can give you guidance. But as I explained, and I want to repeat, we need to look at the Quran as a way of teaching us how to live our daily lives. So someone should read the verse and relate it to your daily life. It must relate to you today and at this place. That's when it makes a lot of sense. And I think if we can approach it that way, many new Muslims will be very happy with dealing with the Quran, because then it will be something real, something live, something that they can relate to. So I think new Muslims need to be helped in terms of understanding the Quran, but also all the Muslims have got the same problem. They can read, but they do not understand. It's not understanding the words It's understanding what is behind the words. So we need teachers who can help us understanding the meaning behind the words. And once we do this, then it will become something alive, something living, and something very practical.
Jazakillahu khairan. Jazakallahu khairan. I get it. Thank you so much.